Hello and welcome to the channel. Um, Again, my name is Lucas, and I invite you to go on a journey with me today through the Book of Job. And it, I find it a special place in my heart for at the moment for the Book of Job, as it resonated with me a lot, and it helped me understand a lot of things, especially with the wisdom, understanding, and humility, and the wisdom of the divine, of God within, of the King of the universe, basically, and how vast is the kingdom uh, of God in that sense. And so I wanted to start that basically the Book of Job is kind of have few parts, and first is a prologue where uh, frames the Job as the righteous one, as wealthy and blameless, um, which I think a lot of us can relate to when we feel that we're innocent. And I feel it's coming from our innate kind of childlike connection with the source, with the Christ, with the divine. But then because of that, we sometimes can miss that it's not that we too kind of commit sins and make mistakes and make errors. And and it speaks of the divine dialogue between God and Satan, where Satan comes to God and wants to kind of says like, well, it's okay that Job's doing well and he's got everything, he's rich, he's got a good family and good health. But he's faithful because you given him everything, and kind of Satan kind of wants to test Job and ask God if he can kind of take things away from him and see how then he will kind of live his life and respond. And so that kind of happens, and everything's taken away from Job, the children, the health, the animals, which he had a lot, which I think is written 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys, and very much many servants, which is a lot, which is, very rich in that time. He had children, and they were taken away from him, and a wife, and so after he received those messages that the young ones were killed by the destructions of the house, by the great wind, and the fire from heaven came and kind of killed the animals, and there was only one person, one servant, who can come and share that and tell him about what happened. And so even after those kind of horrible things, he didn't swear, he didn't utter anything which was kind of abomination to the gods. And Satan said, well, it's written that he enticed, I don't know if God can be, probably not can be enticed, but like said, well, everything's okay, but the man can give everything except his own life, and when his own life is at stake, then things get troublesome. I'm paraphrasing here, and basically talking about taking away his health and a good spirit and so on. and God agreed that okay, you can do it, you can kind of test him like that, but spare his life. And even after that, his wife kind of said to him, well, even after that, you're not gonna blame God for all that he is kind of done in this way. And he was kind of okay at this point still. And then there's a part where there's 3 of his friends come, and they spend 7 days and 7 nights with him, and they don't say a thing and just let him be, because they see that his sorrow is great. And then it starts the lamentation, when he finally kind of starts blaming his birth. And I'm sharing this because recently it occurred to me that I was in the same situation, that a lot of challenging things happen, and recently I kind of felt like, okay, I had enough, and I kind of spoke out in anger and resentment against God, and literally what is in the Job's book. And I thought I was right, and he was wrong, and what's the point of living? What's the point of birth? That it would be better that if I wouldn't be born, because there's only sorrow and trouble and toil in this life. So what's the point when you lose everything, and health and so many other things? But going back to the Job, there's a lot of book, and I definitely recommend to read it. I'm not going to read the whole of it because, well, the book is available even online. You can find the app where you can download the Bible app, which I found very helpful. And I found it very helpful also because I just didn't know. I didn't know that that's the case, and it kind of helped me to understand it more clearly, and kind of turned my ear to listen to its wisdom. And the first time I read it, it was already helpful, but the second time I read it, it kind of penetrated even more deeply into this understanding. And he says a lot of things which are obviously not kind, and very well, lamenting basically of his life, and how it was going. And there was also a lot of with his 2 friends that kind of were with him, that improper, unjust, prosper, and I was like, when I read it, I was like, okay, that kind of moved through my mind at some point. Well, it kind of seems this way, and that's the case, but I realized that it's short-sighted, that it kind of makes sense from the limited perspective of a human being who doesn't have an access to this vast knowledge and array of understanding of each and every moment of what happened and through time and space, which God has an access to and has a perfect knowledge of at each and every moment. So even though it might not seem from our perspective that it's just, that it really is just in a bigger picture in the God's eye, but we're gonna get to it. We're not there yet, in a sense. And Job says, well, his complaint is just. That God left him and he doesn't care, and it's injustice done because he's blameless and he's without sin. He was always doing everything right, and that that God's toiling with him, and it's not based on the truth and the understanding, but it's rather just in spite and so on and so on. And he goes, there's no hope, and I'm specifically not mentioning a lot of things here because I kind of implore you to kind of read it, because it's definitely going to help you if you found this video, if it kind of resonates with you. And it goes through the friends are kind of helping them, and and they kind of try to help him to see that suffering must result from sin, but Job is very much on, well, it was unjust because I did nothing wrong. Kind of that was the kind of situation. I'm still learning, so I hope you're gonna forgive me. I'm sure that there's a lot more of different people who kind of know it better and can kind of speak to it better. I'm not speaking it because I'm speaking about it because it kind of resonated with me, and it helped me to understand certain things that I couldn't kind of grasp and understand. And it was really to do with literally the same kind of aspects within myself. And Job continues to plead to God, "Oh, I loathe my life. I will give freely utterance to my complaint." And here you already know that that's already kind of not going well. "I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say to God, do not condemn me. Let me know, why do you contend against me?" Like, there's a sense of, from Job's perspective, that God's doing that on purpose, that in spite of him, and he says that, "Oh, I'm blameless. I regard not myself. I love my life. I love my life. It is all one. Therefore I say, he destroys both the blameless and the wicked." So Job kind of comes from this kind of perspective, that he is blameless, and even though he was blameless, in his own kind of eyes, God destroyed him, and it's not according to the truth, that it is only wicked that God destroys, because he saw himself on that side. And he goes through quite extensive kind of and way of kind of addressing this, and even one of the friends says him, "Oh, you deserve worse, because there's a great many sins on you and many wickedness." And hearing him speak, and probably in his anger, it's easy for them to understand. Well, you are in the wrong, basically. Job replies, "The Lord has done this. No doubt you are the people, and the wisdom will die with you. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Who does not know such things as these? I am a laughing stock to my friends. I who called to God, and he answered me. A just and a blameless man am a laughing stock. In the thought of one who is at ease, there is a contempt for misfortune. It is ready for those whose feet slip. The tents of robbers are at peace, and those who provoke God are secure, who bring their God in their hands." So he clearly kind of comes from his more man righteousness than the God's righteousness. And obviously he's in the midst of it. He doesn't understand. He can't access this kind of energy of wider understanding and humility, because so much bad happened in his life. And then he kind of finishes with, "Well, and I still kind of, even though those things happen, I will still hope in God." There's so much in this book. I definitely recommend to read it, and it really speaks to self-deception, to the problem of suffering, to divine sovereignty and human limitations, because it is out of human limitations that he says those things, that he, because in comparison we get to God, literally like dust, so what can dust hold? How much wisdom can dust hold? And from this I kind of understand also that the wisdom that we hold is the gift from God, and if we don't see it as such, we might think that it's ours, which is also not correct and not right. Job replies, "Miserable comforters are you to his friends. I have heard many such things. Miserable comforters are you all. Shall windy words have an end? Or what provokes you that you answer? He says, my spirit is broken, my days are extinct, the graveyard is ready for me. So he's in complete despair and hopelessness at this point. Surely there are mockers about me, and my heart dwells on the provocation. Lay down a pledge for me with you, who is there, who will put up security for me. My eye has grown dim from vexation, and all my members are like shadow. My days are past, my plans are broken off, the desire of my heart, they make night into day, the light, they say, is near to the darkness. And then one of his friends says that God punishes the wicked. How long will you hunt for words? Consider and then we will speak. Why are you counted as cattle? Job says, 19:2, how long will you torment me and break me in pieces with words? These 10 times you have cast reproach upon me. Are you not ashamed to wrong me? And even if it be true that I have erred, my error remains with myself. If indeed you magnify yourselves against me, and make my disgrace an argument against me, know that then God has put me in the wrong, and closed this net about me. Behold, I cried out violence, but I am not answered. I call for help, but there is no justice. He has walled up my way, so that I cannot pass, and he has set darkness upon my path. He has stripped from me the glory and taken the crown from my head. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone, and my hope has pulled up like a tree. So he really speaks, the wicked. He kind of errs that the wicked do prosper, and I definitely was there. There was moments when there was that kind of pressure and heaviness of everything collapsing, things not working out. Like, what's the point of living where wicked seems to prosper and just seems to go unpunished? As was kind of looking at the world, especially in this day and age, and what's going on, and it's there's a wisdom in it, as because it feels, however good, godly, or righteous you might be, there's always a kind of test of not only how good you are, but how godly you respond to wickedness. Do you despise wickedness as a human, or do you have understanding and forgiveness for it, and trusting in God's righteousness rather than placing your own righteousness on it? And one of his friends speaks, the Job's wickedness is great. Can a man be profitable to God? Surely he who is wise is profitable to himself. Is it any pleasure to the Almighty if you are in the right, or is it gain to him if you make your ways blameless? Because from God is ultimate. God is ultimate. God is eternal. So he doesn't need anything or anyone. He does it out of his own delight, in a sense. So what is a man to a God, to a creator of the universe? I'm sure he loves us dearly, but I learned that it's multifaceted, so it can be unconditional love and at the same time justice within that. And it goes for some of the passages like this. And Bible also speaks a lot that is it possible for the man to be righteous in itself, fully righteous? So I think it was might have been one of the younger of the friends said that I am the young in years and you are aged. Therefore I was timid and afraid to declare my opinion to you. I said, let days speak and many years teach wisdom. But it is in the spirit in man, the breath of Almighty that makes him understand. It is not the old who are wise, nor the aged who understand what is right. Therefore I say, listen to me, let me also declare my opinion. Behold, I waited for you words and listened to your wise sayings while you stretched out what you say. I gave you my attention, and behold, there was none among you who refuted Job or who answered his words. Beware lest you say, we have found wisdom. God may vanquish him, not man. And then he says, behold, I open my mouth, the tongue in my mouth speaks. My words declare the uprightness of my heart, and what my lips know that speak sincerely. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of Almighty gives me life. Answer me if you can. Set your words in order before me. Take your stand. Behold, I am towards God as you are. I too was pinched off from a piece of clay. Behold, no fear of me need terrify you. My pressure will not be heavy upon you. Behold, in this you are not right. I will not answer you. For God is greater than man. Why do you contend against him? He will answer none of man's words. The God speaks in one way and in two, though man does not perceive it. In a dream and a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on men, while they slumber on their beds. Then he opens the ears of men and terrifies them with warnings, that he may turn man aside from the deed. Man is also rebuked with pain on his bed and with continuous strife in his bones. His flesh is wasted away and it cannot be seen, and his bones that were not seen stick out. For according to the work of man he will repay him. And this beautifully speaks to the parable of Jesus when he spoke about the sower and the seeds, that we sow what we reap basically, and even if we might not kind of comprehend or grasp that that's the case, it's still the case. And through that process, they kind of, their friends, the Elihu exalts God's greatness. For I have yet something to say on God's behalf. I will get my knowledge from afar and ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my words are not false. One who is perfect, his knowledge is with you. Behold, God is mighty and does not despise any. He is mighty in strength of understanding. He does not keep the wicked alive, but gives the afflicted the right. He does not withdraw his eyes from the righteous. The godless in heart cherish anger. They do not cry for help when he blinds them. When it blinds them, they die in youth, and their life ends among the cold prostitutes. And he says to Job, "But you are full of the judgment on the wicked. Judgment and injustice seize you. Beware, lest wrath entice you into scoffing. And let not the greatness of the ransom turn you aside. Behold, God is exalted in his power, who is teacher like him, who has prescribed for him his way." God thunders wondrously with his voice. He does great things that we cannot comprehend. For the snow, he says, fall on the earth. Likewise, the downpour is mighty downpour. He seals up the hand of every man, that all men whom he made may know it. And it goes on and on and on, until the time comes when it's time for the Lord to answer Job, and that's where it becomes interesting. Who is this that darkens counsel words without knowledge? Dress for action like men. I will question you, and you make it known to me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurement? Surely you know. If he is so righteous and so blameless, God says, well, surely you have to know. On where is it? When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Or who shut in the sea with the doors when it burst out from the womb? Have you commanded the morning since the day began, and caused the dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the skirts of the earth, and the wicked be shaken out of it? Have you comprehended the expanse of the world? Do you know the ordinance of the heaven? Can you establish the rule on the earth? Can you hand the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions? Who provides for the raven its prey when its young ones cry to God for help and wander about for lack of food? Is the wild ox willing to serve you? Will he spend the night at your manger? And God's answer is just perfect. And while the Job remains silent and just listens, and the God kind of asks him a lot of questions. And it's weird because I found that it's really very much kind thing to do from God's perspective. I mean, how much gracious you have to be when a man kind of in his arrogance go all out against you, in his delusion, in a sense, ignorance, and you still just, you have to be truly mighty and to do that. Shall a fault finder contend with the Almighty? He who argues with God, let him answer. And then the Job answers. After all, there's many more that I haven't read, and I hope you're gonna be able to read it. But behold, I am of small account. What shall I answer you? I lay my hand on my mouth. I have spoken once, and I will not answer twice, but I will proceed no further. And then the Lord challenges Job. He talks about other things, about how he created Behemoth, and if Job can tame the Leviathan, and so on and so on. And it finishes beautifully when Job repents for for his wrongdoing, for his wrong thinking, for his sins, for his wrong understanding about life, and placing the situations that took place within the context of what's taking place in a not correct way. And then by repenting, meaning changing your mind from the way you were thinking that was right into understanding that the punishment that fell before you, and believe me, I know what it's like, that it was just. You might have not known it, people might have not told you, or you might not came across the wisdom which is in the Bible, beautiful wisdom, but nonetheless it still operates. Just because we don't know the law doesn't mean that we are don't have to abide by it in a sense, accept from it. And then Job confesses and repents. I know that you do all those things, and that no purpose of yours can be in vain. Who is that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me, which I did not know. Hear, and I will speak. I will question you, and you make it known to me. I had heard of you by hearing of the ear, but not my eyes see you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in the dust and ashes. And it finishes, the whole book finishes with kind of Lord rebukes two of his friends, which didn't provide appropriate counsel to him, which to be honest was very much surprising to me as well when I read it, because it speaks to when someone's doing a wrong, you are obligated to either rebuke someone or do something which is right in that place, because it kind of like we are the mouths of the Almighty in this place, in this space, as to provide help for ourselves, for our brothers and sisters, which is the expression of unconditional love for ourselves, for a brother and sister. And then it finishes that the Lord restored Job's fortune, and when he repents and he turns away from sin and a mistake. That's it. I hope this was helpful. There was so much more that you can go into this book and find wisdom, and definitely find humility and humble oneself before Almighty, before God, that we just one human being, which is so I'm just going to finish with a quote from Job 12:7-10, which reads, "But ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds in the sky, and they will tell you, or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, or let the fish in the sea inform you. Which of all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this?" So it kind of speaks to that all creation knows that the hand of God is doing it. But then it's just the sin causes man to not perceive it, not perceive the glory and the beauty of God, and the whole creation, and that we are part of it, and since we are part of inheritance, and so much more. And I hope that gave you some time to reflect upon maybe what was happening in your life, wherever you've been, and I hope that God Almighty will give you a strength to find humility and be led to the true wisdom and true understanding of life. Thank you very much, and I see you next time.